Hey friends, welcome to the Tennis and Bagels podcast. Today I'm joined by my good friend Owen. How are you doing today, Owen?
I'm doing great, and I'm really excited for this podcast because we have a fantastic guest.
Yep, and that fantastic guest is someone who has been really famous on Twitter. I like to call her the Queen of the Desert because we just finished Indian Wells and we're in the middle of Miami, and it's an honor to have her here on this podcast. And she is LaWanda. LaWanda, how are you doing today? You're really quite famous, and it's quite great to have you on this podcast.
Oh, thanks, guys. It's great I'm glad to join you today.
How
Awesome,
is
yeah.
uh how has the recovery been after Indian Wells? A great 2 weeks where you got to see all the action up
Oh,
close.
I know it's just still unbelievable. I mean, I still think about it. It was just so exciting, and to become so famous was just unreal. It was just a very special feeling there, and getting that love that I was getting from Twitter and from people that were actually there, and from the players. Definitely have to talk about the players who were actually, treating about getting photos with me. So.
Were you worn out afterwards after all the action?
Yeah, a bit, but I just relaxed, and then, back to normal, trying to get back to normal, and not being, I was being stopped by a lot of wonderful people, fans, wanted to take photos with me. I probably took more selfies. I don't know. I probably took hundreds of selfies with other people than I did with players. So it was kind of fun. I got stopped in sandwich lines. I got stopped in the restroom. I got stopped in holding drinks. They wanted to take photos with me, so it was a lot of fun. It's very special. Be a celebrity for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a number of how many players selfies you got?
I haven't exactly counted. I think around 62, but I'm not exactly sure. Which is crazy because I thought I would get less this year because it was going to be more people there, and the kids were returning too. So, but back in October, I know I got 50. I think really got 52. So I think this year I did exceed it. I don't know by how much. I think either by 9 or 10. I just have to recount them again, because this year, what was unusual about this year was that besides getting more selfies and more attention, I was also sometimes I got duplicate pictures, twice. I got pictures with players. I got 2 with Paula. I got one on the first day of the tournament. I got one like on the last week, and the same with like Naomi and Layla. So that was the difference, and that's why I'm having a difficult time doing an accurate count yet. But I will. I'll get them all counted. I'm actually going to create a video like I did for 2021 of all the selfies I did.
Oh, that should be great. Yeah.
Yeah. I did have to ask, when did this all start? Like, what was the first selfie you took, and what was it like when the inspiration hit you?
Well, I mean, I've been taking selfies actually for years, since selfies came into vogue. I wasn't very good at it at first. I can say that I probably started around 2011 or so. And I would get a few every, tournament, but, not a lot of attention on them, and then I would, but I was like, I wasn't doing it that well. I was messing up a lot of them. So I had to kind of not post those. And, in 2013, Cincinnati tennis, I was at Cincinnati tennis, and I was trying to take a selfie with Azarenka, and she told me I was totally doing it wrong. And so she actually stood there. She gave me like 10 minutes. She spent 10 minutes giving me lessons on how to take selfies and how to get the best ones. And I go, wow, this is great. I didn't know all this, One of the things she told me was to have the player, you already be in the screen and have the player just come stand behind you or come into the phone, the screen, and some other little tips she gave me. And, then I started taking better selfies, but I've been doing it for years. But what happened was in the October version of the Indian Wells, because there was half the attendance, there was half the attendance, and unfortunately kids couldn't come because immunization wasn't approved yet for kids under 12. It was, we had like free reign to the players. I mean, it was easier to get selfies with the players then. And to spend time talking to them. It was just a more relaxed atmosphere. So I started getting selfie or stuff. I did believe on the first day I got I think I had about 18 on the first day I was there, which is just crazy. I mean, some tournaments I wasn't getting more than 18 for the whole tournament. So, and then I would just start standing there, and it would just be in the first couple of days of the tournament. I would usually be at the fence where the players walk through for practice. But after that, I was going to matches. People think I don't go to matches. Yes, I go to a lot of matches. It was just when I was there at the fence, it was easy to get 2, 3, or 4 player selfies, and also to have time to talk to them. So that was a new thing too, to have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the way Indian Wells structures their practice courts, it's really nice because you have it's so fan friendly, and the way they've improved the practice courts facility, and they've expanded the space. It's so nice because there's a whole grass area where I'm assuming you get all of your selfies, and there's all the players are stretching and warming up.
The grass area, so.
And there's like a fence, and there's kids trying to get the players' attention, and it's really fan friendly that way. But I guess my next question was,
you can watch the players, they're either running, or sometimes they're playing or stretching. It's very fan friendly, and majority of players do come over to the fence. I mean, mostly after practice. So,
yeah, you touched on it a little bit with Azarenka and Cincinnati 2013, but I was curious to hear more about the social connections that you've made through selfies. Like how
you mean social connections as far as I mean, you mean as far as like my Twitter account, because that just I came to Indian Wells with it was a little under 8,000, like 7,000 and something, and I think I'm like 12,000 or something. I forgot where I'm at, but I know I gained like thousands of followers, and it's just insane. So it's so I did that, and then this new thing with the 2022 was the players actually tweeting that they took a selfie with me. I was just unexpected. I know Sebastian Corda was the first one. He said that let's make this a yearly thing, and I said, oh yeah, that's fine. We'll make this a yearly thing. And all of a sudden, Marian Cilic tweets that he took a photo with me, and I'm like, what? And then I think later that day, Petra did the same thing. I took a photo with LaWanda. It was like, wow, and it was just insane. I couldn't believe it. And then a few days later, Coco Gauff told me that they were talking about me. They were talking about me in the locker room. Had so-and-so, had you taken a picture with LaWanda? So, what? They're talking about me in the locker room? She said, yes, for sure. And she wanted to take a picture with me on her own phone. So I waited for her to practice. We did that. In fact, that's my new profile photo. It's a photo that she took on her own phone. And you can see I'm holding my phone, so it wasn't on my phone. So it's just wild. I couldn't believe it. It was just insane. It was nothing that was expected at all. And like I said, I always get selfies at every tournament, but this one just turned into, just massive, attention. I just love it. It was so wonderful to see all the trees, with people enjoying them, and commenting on how much they loved it and how much they felt that they were like almost there through me, because I'm just a fan, and so.
Yeah, I felt like before I went there, I was living the tournament vicariously through your Twitter timeline.
Yeah, that's what people kind of said, and I'm just a fan, and people want me to do other things. They say, why did they hire her? And I said, I don't want to be hired because then I can be a fan. So
that's an awesome attitude. I wanted to ask as well, do you get nervous at all anymore when you take the selfies, or are you so used to it by now that it's just fun?
You know what? I don't get nervous. I get more nervous for doing this interview, but no, I don't get nervous anymore. I mean, I talk to players just like, you know, their friends or they're who they are, and I'm pretty comfortable with them. You know, I mean, Ralph's stuff made me go crazy, but that's because you know he's one of my favorites, and I hadn't had one with him, so that was my shaking moment. But other than that, I'm very comfortable with the players, and I love talking to them and interacting with them. So
that's awesome.
So, yeah.
So you know, you mentioned Rafa, and you're a big Rafa fan. But you know what do you look for when you're like standing a player? Like, is there a huge like you're a big Rafa fan, Azarenka fan? You know, what is kind of the thing that's like your go-to that you know makes them your favorites, and for all of your other favorites as well?
Yeah. I mean, Ralph has just been my favorite since since I watched him play when he was 18. I just loved the way he played, you know, his dedication to the game, his never give up attitude, he just was fun, and I just loved him. Azarenka, I actually, before Indian Wells looked like it does now, it used to be set up a little bit different, where with the practice courts. So you could go, they were set up on the sides, and you could go stand by this little fence and watch practices and at each court. And I heard this, I actually thought it was, I heard this noise from in the back, and I went, it lured me, and I went over to watch her practice. She was 17 at the time. She was there at Indian Wells playing, and she was also playing doubles. And I just watched her, and I saw how great she was. And so I just became instantly a fan of hers. I said, I'm going to watch this girl. And usually she was getting for her matches, she was getting the court 3, which was court 2 back then. So I could just I was usually sitting behind her coaching team, and we'd be rooting her on. And it just became, you know, part of the Azarenka fan club, I guess, if we want to say that. But I just loved watching her. I just kind of saw the talent in her. That's one thing I do like to do. I do like to go every tournament. I like to go watch someone new or watch someone that I think is going to be great. So at that point, it was her. And I did the same with Osaka. I saw her when she was 17 or 18, I believe. I think she was 18 when I first saw her play. You know, went to watch her too. So that's what, you know, makes tennis interesting. And you know, I'm always looking for the future. I mean, this is a sport I've been watching for decades, and I'm definitely going to be watching forever. And you know, because I just love tennis so much.
Yeah. So speaking of the future, what do you think of Carlos Alcaraz? I feel like I need to ask this just because
he's playing right now, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's outstanding. I mean, he's gonna be good. He's gonna be win slams for sure. He's just great, and he has a great attitude. I want to say that too. I watched him, you know, being at the events every day. I watched him every day at the practice without fail. He'd come and take photos with everyone and sign for everyone without fail. And I hope he keeps that same attitude. I told him, I said, you know, I love your attitude. You're a very nice man. You know, keep this up. You know, you're going to go places. And so I'm wishing for the best for him, but I do see a lot of potential in him. I think everyone's seen it now. So.
Yeah.
And besides the potential, like I said, he's got the great attitude with the fans, and they love him. So that's good.
Yeah, I don't think I've come across a Carlos hater on Twitter yet. And most players have them, but with Alcaraz, it's all love from what I can tell.
Yeah, it's love. I mean, some people are getting upset because he's being compared with Ralph, and I tell people, don't compare him with Ralph. He doesn't want to be the next Ralph. He wants to be the next Carlos Alcaraz. That's, you know, and he wants to be his own person. And it's hard when people try to compare him with other players. No other player is going to be like another player. So
yeah,
you know, hopefully he'll make a name for himself.
That's a very good point. So I'm curious, you know, because you've been active on TT, you know, since over a decade. I'm curious, you know, what was it like to being a fan before Twitter and after, and you know, how's kind of social media changed the way you approach your fandom in tennis?
Well, when I first got on Twitter, it was two friends that were at Indian Wells, and they told me about Twitter and how they could talk to the players. And I go, what? You can talk to players on Twitter? So I signed up for Twitter, but for years I only had like a couple hundred followers. What I did find, and it was very nice to know, was that you found out things that were going to happen before people like at the event knew. That was one thing. Like someone withdrew, you already knew from Twitter that they withdrew, but the people there didn't know. It was kind of interesting to know that. But the other thing was that. But the main thing was that I was making, I was having interactions and making friends through Twitter. I made true friends that I've actually met now in life, through Twitter. So that was fun. It's good to have the tennis community. It's not easy to find someone to talk about tennis about. Most of my very good friends are not big fans of tennis. So it's nice to have this, this tennis community that we can get in touch with on Twitter and other social media.
Yeah, I kind of have it the same way. Like when I talk to a friend who isn't into tennis about tennis, I have to start with the most basic explanation because they're not in tune with it. But on Twitter, it's just everyone's on the same page with the rules and everything, and they all know what they're watching, which is so nice.
Right. My family only knows who Serena and Venus are. That's about it. They don't even know what soccer is. So that's about the extent of my family and friends' knowledge of tennis.
Yeah, and also, you're somebody who spreads a lot of positive vibes on Twitter, and you're a very like upbeat fan. So how do you manage to maintain that positivity when tennis Twitter obviously can be a pretty polarizing place and a lot of emotions, a lot of clicks and.
Well, I'm going to say this because before I got, even when I first got on Twitter, it still wasn't like this. But when I was, before I got on Twitter and stuff, I have friends who were fans of other players. So that was never an issue. I have some besties who are friends of Roger, fans of Rogers, and ones who are fans of Djokovic, and fans are this. And we didn't have we were just friends, but we just like different players. And then you get on Twitter, and sometimes there's like these fan bases. This one is over here, and this one's over there, and this one's over there. And I can't get mixed up in that because, I have friends who like all these players, and I respect all the players. It's a hard sport. I respect what they do out there. I respect watching them and, enjoying what they do out there. And so that's why I keep it positive. I don't try to get into any of these, fan base arguments or anything like that. It wasn't that way. It's still not that way. I still have friends who are Federer fans and then Djokovic fans, or vice versa. And that's the way it's going to be. They're still my friends.
That's the best way to look at it, I think.
Yeah.
If everyone could follow that advice, tennis Twitter would be an even better place than it is now.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why it was this fan wars, but
they never go anywhere
I'm not
either.
Part of that war, so like I said, I respect all the players. I respect all the people on Twitter. Everyone deserves respect. So.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I wanted to ask, you've been going to Indian Wells for many years. I was wondering, is that your favorite tournament in the world? And if you could pick any other tournament to go to, which one would you pick?
I really want to go to Australian Open. I just haven't been there yet. Indian Wells, yes, it's my favorite. I have been to other tournaments. People act like I have been to other tournaments. It's just with the COVID, of course, I wasn't traveling too much. So I'm hoping to hit up a couple more tournaments this year. I probably will. Hoping for Sensi this year. Maybe I might go up north. I forgot the name of that tournament in San Jose, but I might go up to that one, San Jose, California. It just depends. It depends on when I get closer to tournaments. But yes, Indian Wells is definitely my favorite. I feel like I'm at home for 2 weeks when I get there. It's my tennis paradise. I got it for 2 weeks. I'm going to relax, have fun. It's definitely my favorite. But
yeah, absolutely. It's called the tennis paradise and the fifth major. And I guess when you go there and you truly experience it, you realize why it's marketed that way, right? Because you got
Right,
the
exactly.
beautiful mountains in the background. You've got
Yeah, isn't it beautiful? Mountains and palm trees. You can see palm trees in the you get a picture of the palm trees, in front of the mountains if you get the right, setup. But yeah, it's just beautiful and it's relaxing.
they've got a lot of money, and so they've like expanded the grounds, and the players. I think the players feel like they're treated really well, like at home for those 2 weeks, and it's a combined event, 96 players and the draws. So you feel like you get to see all the best players in the world,
Right.
sort of across many days, and the practice courts are great. And you feel like the people who come there are really knowledgeable about the game and don't and follow it week in, week out, as opposed to some more casual fans. So that's one thing I really like about the tournament. But what is like super special about it in your opinion? Like, is there more to it than that? Is there something?
Yeah, I mean, what you described
That's it?
too is that I think, yeah, it's definitely the atmosphere too of being with, like you had described, that the fans are knowledgeable most of the time, and I feel like with my friends, and I'm Tommy Haas knows me, the tournament director, so that's kind of special too, and it just feels it. I guess because I guess it's my closest home tournament now, pretty much, and it just feels like I'm at home, and that's what makes it special. And I've been going for I've been at least 15 years in a row. I've been going to Indian Wells, so it's just a beautiful place, and it's relaxing, and it really is tennis paradise. Until you get there and experience it yourself, you don't realize what it does to you, how it touches you. Everyone I convinced to come there has loved it. Nobody said, "Oh, this is terrible stuff." I mean, people complain about costs and things like that, but they just love it. Brings you in. They love the atmosphere that's there.
That's awesome. Earlier you mentioned how Azarenka spent a few minutes with you working on selfie technique. I was wondering, are there any other kind of longer interactions you've had with players that have stuck with you over the years?
I'm sorry. What can you repeat your question?
Yeah. I was wondering, are there any other kind of longer conversations you've had with players that have stuck with you over the years?
Yeah, I've had. I mean, especially this year, I've had a lot of conversations with players. Like with Ans Jabbar, she was just so special this year. We were talking all the time about different things. She was teasing me when she saw Petra's tweet about taking a photo with me, and she said, "You're always supposed to take photos with me." She said. So I said, "Okay, next tournament, I'll only take one picture with you, and that's it, and no others." And we were laughing about that. I was joking with. I kind of snuck a photo with Paula Badosa's boyfriend. I called him over, and so I said, "I need to talk to Paula about this." So we were joking around. He said, "I promise I won't take him away from you." And we're joking. And stuff. So I mean, just having some kind of, so those were like some conversations I was just having. It just was a more relaxed thing to be able to talk to the players and have those kind of conversations. Yeah, I think so. I miss Delpo. I used to like to talk to him a lot at the fence. We're always talking to Delpo, so it was always fun to talk to him. I mean, when he was on his way to winning the title, I told him, "Listen, you're making me nervous. You gotta stop these 3 setters." And he said, "I'm sorry, I promise." We were just laughing. And then he won another 3 setter. I said, "I don't care. Whatever it takes to win." So
that's amazing. And that was a wild final as well. All kinds of match points and
man,
comebacks.
yes, it was wild. I tell you. And Roger Federer fans probably should hate me because I was. There wasn't a whole bunch of us rooting for Delpo, but I was trying to get him through it. And the next year, the same thing. I was rooting for Dominique, but it was not that I don't like Roger. It's just that I was trying to get these other players some love, but kind of backfired for Roger. So
you must be his bad luck charm.
Yeah, sure. I know. I think I just want to see me at his finals anymore, but I've been playing finals age 1, so but Yeah, it's just so it's very nice when you can talk to players, joke with them, have fun, and
Yeah.
so
I feel like being at an event for 2 weeks is just a dream come true, but also it can be kind of draining. Like, I guess what would how do you manage your energy levels, during those
yeah.
2 weeks? Like, do you get on like a really emotional high, and then you have to come down, back to sort of a level more chill
Right.
environment? Like,
Yeah.
how's it like?
Yeah. Well, the first week, it's not even so much energy, but how long you're staying there, how much sleep you're gonna get. You got to kind of balance that out. I'm okay. I think probably by the 10th day is the day that I kind of like, I'm starting to drain, and I'm also missing home, missing my dog, missing a lot of things. But I can tell you the day after I missed it already. I wish it was in Miami. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. I feel like it's just extra adrenaline I get when I'm there. I mean, once I get back home, I've got bones that are aching. I didn't realize I was aching when I was there. It was like I have headaches I didn't realize I had when I was there. I mean, just like everything just disappears when I'm there, and it doesn't. I'm just running on basically what you said, adrenaline and excitement, for being there.
Yeah,
So
that's quite awesome. You get that opportunity.
Yeah,
every
yeah,
single year.
I'm lucky. I mean, I got a lot of I actually have a ton of vacation days to use. So I think I still have 7 weeks of vacation time stocked up. So I'm gonna try to get to some more tournaments this year.
I was gonna say you must work really hard during the year to have the ability to afford 2 week Indian Wells trip. That's quite awesome that you've
Yeah, it's
managed to
pretty
earn that for
expensive,
yourself.
especially the seat I have. But I did an interview fighting for. I think I did an interview last year for a paper. I told them that it was some rice and beans for a month to pay for my ticket, but it's worth it. I get to keep the same seat, so and it's
Right.
fourth row behind where the players sit on court. So it's a great seat. So
Yeah,
I'll pay for it as long as I can. Keep doing it.
that's awesome. We the TV cameras definitely love you for it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The tennis channel and tennis TV.
And that's the other thing too. People say, "Are you paying them to be on TV?" I said, we have no idea. I have no idea that I'm on TV. I mean, how am I gonna know? Until you guys start treating me, screenshots and things like that. I have no idea. But people would, that's another thing. People on Twitter would send me every time I was on TV or when I was mentioned on TV. That was crazy. But yeah. That fourth row seat too, it's easy for them to find me. So
Yeah. I
think
guess
the
being in the
tournament-
fourth row, do you get like a different sort of an angle, vantage point, something closely, maybe about a player that you notice that you watch them on TV, but it doesn't really quite strike you how great that quality is of theirs? Is there something in particular, like their footwork or their strokes? Is there something that really amazes you?
Yeah, I mean, it's all that. You see that all on TV, and you also see that at the match. But just a little other things that people do. When they're sitting at their seats and at their how they do their towels and their water and things like that. It's kind of interesting to watch those between the breaks. And you don't realize, because when you're at home watching, you don't realize where all the camera people are. You don't realize that when they, after they play the first game, they take their little water break. And that there's cameras following them, following one of the players to their water break, or when they break a racket, the camera comes over there to film the racket and trail the racket when the player. It's just kind of interesting to see all these cameras. And you see behind the scenes things, especially when I'm right there on the court, I can see what's going on for that. But yeah, the only thing is that with the fourth row seat, I love it, but it's really hard for me. It's hard for me to see the ins and out when the call is in and out. And I think for me personally, I had to be like a higher up to actually double verify. But I'm going with the new system now. I just believe what they do. So as far as the calls, the Hawkeye. So, but Yeah, that's it. I mean, just this having that closest seat actually, just gives you different perspective, seeing the players so close up, and that's why I can't give it up yet. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I think the tournament should just give you a honorary free ticket every year at this point.
Tell Tommy Haas.
Yeah, Tommy, if you're listening to this, I was wondering, what's the best match that you've ever seen at Indian Wells, like that you've been to?
Everyone asks me that. It's so hard to remember because there's been so many, and so I just have to go like with recent history. I mean, that Del Potro Roger final was so great in 2018. Last year, that Azarenka Badoza final for women was just excellent. I mean, as you know, Azarenka is my favorite, but Badoza, I just started liking her because after that match too, because she just was so great. I thought at some point she was just going to drop, and she didn't. She kept on fighting. So, but I mean, there's been many matches over the years. But I had to go like for my recent history. Those are my most recent favorite matches there.
Yeah, those are great ones.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I never have like just this is the one. I don't know if there's a this is the one. That was my favorite. So,
do you see something different now when you go in? When you go there as a spectator, is there something different in 2022 versus, let's say, 2010? Is there something?
Oh well, yeah. They totally. Well, I don't know if you were there in 2010, but they remodeled the stadium, so that was different. And God, how long has it been there? Stadium 2, I think it's only been there like 8 years now, 7 or 8 years in the new Stadium 2. So that was all new, the Stadium 2. They wasn't there before. Stadium 2 used to be what Stadium 3 is, the smaller stadium. So that was all new. Also, the main stadium, the hallways were not enclosed. It was all open. So there was a lot of maintenance that they did. I mean, I walked in, and when we saw all the new, things they had done, it was just amazing. So they're always doing something different. They're improving something or adding something, which I like. So the fountains were new. One year, Gamero, there's fountains here now, and the "We Miss You" wall. I don't know if you saw that "We Miss You" wall there.
Yeah,
yeah, that was new, and so so it's always some little touchy thing that's new there. So
yeah, for sure. I like the food there is pretty good.
It was there. Yeah, it's like, people say it's pricey, but that's the way it is. That everywhere you go when you're going to some place like that. So, but yeah, you can find some good food, and you got the chargers. Some people, it's really important. Some people that every under the what we call the beer tents that are the big white tents. Every corner of the tents, there's charging tables. So that's a thing that people need. And also the water. That's a big thing for people, having the water dispensers too.
Yeah,
is a big thing for people. So just those small little things are things that are big to people. So
yeah, sure. It was really nice to have the water so close to the courts. I could just go and then change over and just get more because it was such a hot day.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I mean, having
water.
the area where you have the lawn area, not the lawn area with the players, but the lawn area where you can see the big screen and just sit there and relax for a little bit. If you just want to just take a break for everything, you just sit in the Andorrac chair and watch the matches on the big screen for a while.
Yeah. I would just take a nap there and just fall asleep in the shade.
Yeah, exactly. You just haul the seat over to the shade and just a nap. I've done that before too. I didn't do it this year, but I've had years when I just needed a nap, so I would just go to Andorrac chair and haul it over and nap. So I don't think this year I could have done it. I probably would have been woken up to take selfies.
Priorities. You got to get your priorities right now.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I pass by, there's someone to stop me. selfies. But it was very special.
Yeah, I like how they've put the murals there as well, so you can see the
Yeah.
winner from last year, and you can see them unveiled that way. It's cool.
Yeah. They started the murals, and they put the prior years. They're all like over this. They're like inside Stadium 1 or Stadium 2, or around the ground. So it's pretty cool. It's going to be nice to see Egas and Taylor's next year. See if there's going to turn out to be. It's one of the other special things there.
I do have one more question. I'd love to get your take on this, because actually we love asking this for all of our new guests. But I was wondering, it can be any kind of a suggestion related to tennis. Anything about the fan experience, about the game, about the tournaments, about majors, anything. Is there any one thing that you've campaigned for years that you're like, this has to improve about tennis? Is there any one suggestion that jumps out to you?
I need to improve about tennis. That's a hard one. I think I'm trying to remember what's the last one we talked about, but I think more for me, I think I can campaign for consistency in rules, and having some standard rules for things. Some of those have come into place this year, as far as like timing between for the bathroom breaks, or you want to call them the bathroom breaks or the little breaks, but for consistency in what happens to players, I think it's a big thing that's been talked about this year. How far does a player have to go, or why can't there be like even penalties or some standard of penalties for players? And that's across the board, because it's been something that's been talked about, and we want the sport to be positive for everyone. I'm sitting at a match, and there's a 4-year-old girl in front of me here, having me hear all this foul language, and where does that where do you kind of draw the line at letting it happen, or penalties for that kind of thing? And I would like to see some more consistency in that, and the rules on that. So
that's a great answer.
That's a great answer. And this is my last question. I was wondering, to someone who doesn't follow tennis at all, if they came up to you and said, why should I be a tennis fan? Like, what is so great about this sport? What would you tell them?
Oh man, I would just tell them that it's there's two individuals out there, so it's not a team sport. You got two individuals out there trying to battle to move on to the next match. And I would explain that you have to they're fighting for the title, fighting for this match as individuals. And oh boy, it's just and it's just very exciting to watch the different. They have to do different shots. They have to serve well, and they have to have it all together in order to win this match. So you have to write the little nuances, for each player, what they're doing as far as how they're going to win, and they all have their own different styles. So I think I would say that. I probably say something else if I could think of more to say, but yeah, as far as drawing someone into the sport, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's a wonderful sport. I mean, it's a wonderful sport. It's a sport that regular people can play. We can play tennis too. We can't box. We can't always play basketball too well, but something that people play a lot, and so it's an enjoyable sport, not only to watch but to play. I don't play anymore because of injury issues, but so it's just a wonderful sport all overall.
Yeah.
It's so fun to be following.
It's so great. It's so great that you're just such a great fan, and you're a true super fan in every sense. So it's been great.
Well, your selfies are definitely driving more fans to the sport and fans to become fans. So it's great to have you as part of that community.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, like I said, again, I didn't know that I didn't come to Indian Wells this year and go like, oh, I'm gonna walk out of here being famous, having players post tweets saying they took a selfie with me doing this. And having people stop me and want photos with me. I mean, it was never the intention, but it just turned into something like that. Oh, also doing the interviews. I've been doing this podcast with you guys, but also there at the site, I did, I believe, 4 interviews at the site with the different entities. So that was unusual. So, yeah. But that was great. And I got my first selfie with Ralph. It just floors me, and I was shaking so bad. It was like, but it happened. So.
Yeah. So glad you got to do that. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's probably not my best selfie in the world because I was shaking so bad. I forgot all of the Azarenka's rules. But I got it. So that was good.
Probably the highlight of Nadal's career. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think so.
No.
A highlight for me of the 2022 BNP Paribas Open. So, my life. So.
I mean, for him as well, though. I mean, probably at number 2, he's got all those Roland Garros titles, and then at number 1, selfie with you.
But yeah, well, I told you, I did some interviews with some other, entities there, including, tennis. I don't know if I can name them, but, Tennis Channel. I did one with them and some others, and they said they were trying to see if I can get one with Ralpha. They were trying to get in touch with Ralpha's team. And I don't know if that's the reason he came over to take that selfie with me that day. I just, every day, usually I'm in this crowd of people, and that day it was just only like 3 of us at the fence. It was he wasn't scheduled for practice, so people weren't there, and there's just 3 of us, and he was coming in to practice, and he dropped his bags and came over and took a photo with me. It was astounding. I couldn't even believe it. He never takes photos going in. He never does stops going in. And so I think maybe that was part of it. Maybe he had recognized me. I hope he did anyway. So
I'm sure he did. That must have been really special. We're really happy for you that you got that.
Yeah.
You got that.
Thanks.
We're so happy you're able to join us and take time out of your day. It's been an absolute pleasure, and hopefully
this is fantastic.
We'll do this again.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you soon, and wish you all the best, and keep spreading those positive vibes.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, have a good rest of your day, LaWanda.
You too. Bye-bye. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Nice.
Yeah.